Good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's the afternoon here. As I record this on the 6th of September, I'm wanting to say the 6th of January, and I realise that has connotations for America. That might come up in this reading, it might not. I'm not intending to do a reading linked into USA and Donald Trump, but of course there are so many things happening in America at this time. Then I would just like to send good wishes and the vibration of love and unity to that great country. But no, this video is intended to be a reading for all of you for the month of September. So we're already nearly a month in, and I'm just going to get straight to it today. I know you can't see me on camera. I'm just having a few days off camera, basically. It's really good to do that occasionally. It helps to conserve your energy, and I would just like us to focus on the messages that are coming through. So hopefully you can hear me okay. I've spent all morning trying to get the audio good, and I actually think I might have cracked it. So it sounded good anyway when I listened back to the test. So we have a new camera, I have a new microphone, and that feels very symbolic for these days. New beginnings are here for all of us. So where shall we start? I think I'm going to start with a goddess card. I also am going to use the 5th tarot deck, which I haven't used for a while, but it's one of my favourite decks. And we're just going to have a good old look at the month of September. So let's get to it. Let's see what goddess energy wants to be with us this month. And we have the energy of Iris. Iris. And this is the energy of communication, card number 23. And I'm going to see what's on the bottom of the deck as well. But September is a month of communication. It feels as though, hopefully you can see the card. There are rainbows coming out of this goddess's eyes. She has a rainbow coming out of both eyes. And it feels as though these eyes, which are your eyes, they're my eyes, they're humanity's eyes, have been through a lot. We've seen a lot. Think about what the rainbow stands for. It represents the times of rain and difficulty and challenge and hardship. But the rainbow comes out, of course, when the sun is also present. So it just feels as though it's a nod from Spirit to say that we see the journey that you've been on. And I'm wanting to say through this year in particular, 2023, and we've got the 23 card, has been a year of revelations, being able to see more clearly what is going on, being able to hopefully see more clearly our true selves. If you've been doing the mirror work with me, following on from the Michael Jackson channeling that I did recently, that was all about looking in the mirror and seeing who you really are. The beauty as well as the things that maybe we need to tweak or heal within ourselves. I'm also struck by the fact that this goddess also has the third eye quite prominent. So it feels as though September is a month where our intuitive abilities may also be coming more to the fore. And it's interesting, of course, that I'm doing this video and you can't see me. You can hear me. And I feel, well, I posted a little bit about this on my other social media channels recently as to why I was doing it. And it's nothing serious. I've just had a little bit of corrective work done on my skin. I've got some skin issues at the moment, and I just don't want to be on camera. But the point is that when you have to listen to somebody rather than see them, sometimes the messages go in deeper. We don't just take things at face value. But I also think there's something here with regards to what I put it this way, what I said many people were resonating with, which was we don't always want to be seen. There are periods in life where it's okay to withdraw. There are periods in life and maybe months like this where there's just so much going on that there is a need to not turn away, but really this is about going into the third eye. It's as though these two eyes feel very tired. They've seen a lot and they've witnessed a lot, and now it's time for the third eye energy to kick in. And via the third eye, we are going to be finding new levels of communication coming to us. And that often can come in on the back of other senses either being taken offline temporarily, or it might be that you actually have an issue with your ears, your eyes, any of the senses basically, taste as well, smell. So if there is an issue with one of the senses, know that the other ones are going to be stepping up more, and you're going to be finding new ways to communicate with spirit as well. So on the bottom of the deck, let's just see what is on the bottom. We've got the card of generosity, Ocean, card number 41. So this is reminding me of the energy of what we reap what we sow, basically. That in September, the more good deeds we can do, the more that it will rebound on us tenfold. That's not obviously the reason why we do it, to get something back, but it's just the way that the universe works. Now, going back God knows how many years, I used to be a brownie when I was a little girl. Many of you might have been a brownie or a cub or a scout. And the thing with the brownies is I seem to remember we always used to have to do the brownie promise. And part of the brownie promise was basically declaring and stating an intention to do a good deed. So September is full of good deeds and good seeds is what I'm hearing. Okay, so plant seeds, plant good deeds, and they will come back to you multiplied. You do this and you become generous or continue to be generous in the face of adversity. I'm sure I'm not the only one who is noticing an upsurge in people being more aggressive, triggered, people spoiling for a fight, just the energy of walking outside your door. You know, you can sense that there is volatility in the air. People are on edge. There's a reason for that, of course. But despite all of that, we've got to be like this lady here, and she reminds me of the sunflower, which I've talked about many times on my channel, of turning our face to the sun, turning our face to the light, showing our best face, basically, okay? And being generous in thought and deed. This also is, Metatron is saying, about not letting things slip whereby, you know, you should be standing up for yourself and saying something if somebody is just pig ignorant or rude and you need to put up a boundary or a block. But it's being generous of spirit and understanding that many people are struggling at this time. So, for example, you're in a shop and somebody is rude or snaps at you. Always try to remember what has made somebody into that energy or aligned with that energy at any one point in time. So we're being asked to lead by example with these two cards. Okay, so I'm going to put them up there, and I'm now going to go to the tarot. So let's see what we're going to get for the month of September. So I'm going to use the 5th tarot, and let's start with 4 cards for the energies that are coming in for all of us for the month ahead. So the month of September, the energies that are coming in. Number 1. Number 2. I'm hearing the word methodical. And we are still in Virgo season after all. The energy of being methodical, slowing down, taking your time. I'm also hearing the word melody. So melody and methodical. Metatron is saying, in fact, it's actually Sandalphon coming in as well because we're talking sound, that we all create a melody every single day. which is made up of the rhythm and the vibration and the tone with which we live our life. It comes into our speech, it comes into our actions, it comes into our thoughts, it comes into every single thing that we do. It comes into our body language, it comes into our posture. It comes in and then it filters down into everything, into our relationships, our jobs, the way that we experience life. So to try to see yourself very much as a melody, and the melody needs to be harmonious. The melody needs to ideally be peaceful, gentle, and soft. Again, set against a backdrop where there's going to be a lot of noise, abrasive energy, loudness. We are asked to create a different frequency. So think of yourself actually as pure frequency. If we just stop for one moment and feel into ourselves as pure frequency, what is the frequency that right now you are emitting listening to me, okay? Or what was the frequency that you were emitting an hour ago? What is the frequency that you're going to be taking into the next business meeting that you might have to attend, into the next shop that you have to go into the next email that you write, into the next transaction, into the next demonstration of who you are in relationship? And, you know, what I'm being shown is a sheet of music, and ideally we just need to be creating a beautiful sound, a beautiful vibration, and then others will harmonize with that. Okay, so it's very important to be that this month. Now, for some reason, I'm being asked to turn this card over first, so let's see what it is. It's the Seven of Shells, which is the card of possibilities, and it has the Nautilus shell on it. In fact, there's 7 Nautilus shells. The Nautilus shell, of course, is the journey inward and then the journey back outward. And this feels completely perfect for what I'm trying to explain in this video. That September is a month, yes, for going in, for observing our behaviour, for observing ourselves. But then as we learn more on that inward journey, we process more, we integrate more, we heal more, we then are able to come back out in a bigger, more expansive way, where we are more able to open up to the possibilities that are there for us for the second half of this year. So we have the 7 of Shells, the card of possibilities. We have the Initiate of Lotus. That is summing up what I've just been saying. To imagine that you're walking, we talk about the armour of God, we talk about walking with sandals of peace. To imagine that you're walking the energy of peace into your life, into your home, into your relationships, but also this initiate here is standing still. Are you okay, and are you comfortable with standing still? And when we stand still, we witness ourself. It's the energy of presence. And to be ever present with self is one of the hardest things that often we have to do in this life, because we distract ourselves with things to do, places to go, reasons to not do this, reasons to not stay aligned to the energy of peace, but also to be present with ourselves in every moment. I'm very drawn, I know it's a picture of feet, but the toes are really calling me in this picture. Now, I'm on record for almost being the Guinness Book a world record holder of always stubbing my toes. There are resources out there. You can link them below in the comments, whereby you will start to learn to understand that each of the toes links into a particular meridian and a particular organ within the body. And so if, for example, you're always stubbing your big toe, your little toe, your middle toe, whatever it is, the toes are actually trying to speak. And isn't it interesting? So again, in a video where you can't see me, but you can see my hands, you can see my fingers. And now we're talking about toes. So it feels as though September is a month where we just start to appreciate the little things, the big things, the parts of our body as well, that we often are not even acknowledging as being important. How many people have ever broken a foot or broken an ankle or, I don't know, sprained something and never taken any notice of it before until you don't have the ability to use it? So it's a month of appreciation for the body, all parts of the body, and being present. So let's see what this one is. This is the card of focus, the 8 of feathers. Focus is a theme that I've talked about, I feel, a lot recently. It feels a very Metatronic energy, focus. Within my own Metatron deck, the card that I guess links into the energy of focus is the priorities card. And I'll just get that. It's just here. So let's just get the priorities card out of the deck. I feel the energy of priorities very strongly this month. I felt the energy of priorities strongly for the whole year, probably more so than I ever have at any point in my life. It's as though we have to get the basics sorted before we can evolve and move on. We're all wanting the new upgrade, we're wanting the new start, we're wanting the new door to open, we're wanting the new spiritual experience, the new gift of heightened intuition or clairvoyance or clairaudience. We want to be able to channel spirit, we want to be able to see spirit, we want to be able to get into our heart energy, all of the things we talk about all the time on the spiritual path. But unless you have this basic level of the pyramid completed, which very much ties into the energy of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we're not going to get anywhere. So this is back to basics. This is back to cooking, cleaning, diet, health, exercise, the roof over your head, the leaky roof that hasn't had attention drawn to it, the basement that is musty and needs sweeping out, the windows that are dirty, the path that needs sweeping, the grass that needs mowing. These are things that actually need to be done before we can go higher. It's as though the spiritual community is needing a bit of a kick up the backside, if you don't mind me saying, because I'm also giving myself a kick up the backside, which is that we have to get this basic layer right. I'm also being drawn to the fact that I don't think this is just a UK problem, and it's something I probably will be reading on. I'm going to be doing a spiritual news video very soon, where I'm looking at some of the key things that are happening around our world. And it's not just going to be focused on UK, but obviously sometimes there are UK references because it's where I live. But I always know that when something's happening in the UK, it absolutely is reflected in lots of other countries too. So yesterday in the UK, one of the biggest cities in this country, which is Birmingham, I think actually Birmingham might be the second biggest city, or it's certainly the third biggest city. It's a huge population of people. It's in the north of England. It always used to be the industrial powerhouse, really, of our nation. But anyway, the council has gone bankrupt. Literally, it's gone bankrupt. And notices were put up yesterday that only the very basic amenities can be catered for by the council, the most vulnerable people. There is no money in the pot. Now, I don't want to get into the politics of it in terms of whether it's who it's run by. The thing is, this is going to be reflected in other countries around the world. Needs not having been taken care of, books not being balanced. Let's now bring that into your life. Which book is not balanced in your life? Only you can answer that, but something is out of balance, and so we need to get the priorities in order. I love the fact that the angel wings are just enveloping the pyramid here, which is saying that spirit will help you to attend to what needs to be attended to. So that for me goes very much with the card of 8 of feathers. We've also got the mountain in the background, and I'm just wondering what the bird is on this card. So let's go to the book, because in another life I would quite like to have been a bird watcher, but maybe there's still time in this life. It's funny, as you get older, you start to get into things like gardening and, stuff that I used to turn my nose up at. Now I'm thinking, actually, it's really interesting. Okay, so it's actually a flicker. So who is a bird watcher here? Who knew that? I didn't know it was a flicker. But anyway, let's get it up. It's a flicker. I've no idea where flickers come from. I don't think they're from the UK. Now, I'm just about to drink my tea, so I'm hoping this doesn't sound terribly slurpy on my new microphone. Apologies if it does, but I need to drink the tea. You look at the flicker, and then I'm going to bring the message through. Okay. Oh, you can't beat a cup of tea, guys. You just can't beat a cup of tea. Oh, I'm just going to focus on my cup of tea for a minute. Hold on. You have a little sip of your drink. So, the flicker. The flicker in the 8 of feathers summons us to create new rhythms without the blues. I can't believe it. What was I just saying about creating a melody? Oh, wow. The flicker in the 8 of feathers summons us to create new rhythms without the blues. The flicker drums rapidly on tree trunks with its long, sharp beak. Their repetitious motions as they drum point out the focused intent necessary to connect with the rhythm of the earth. This focus enables us to tune into our own rhythm in the process. Oh, I can't believe it. That's just so perfect, isn't it? I will never stop being blown away by spirit and the confirmations you get. It's just beautiful. It says the red crest on the flicker's head represents the higher aspects of the mind. Focusing on the upper chakras, the third eye and crown, aids us in attaining greater states of consciousness. The black crest suggests a connection to the heart chakra. Ted Andrews talks about flicker will awaken a new rhythm and the ability and opportunity to manifest all healing love. Okay, so the thing I want to take out of this message then is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So I suspect that September is going to be a month where the Schumann resonance is playing up big time. The vibration of Earth is changing and it is unsettling. I find it some days quite challenging because I'm very in tune with what's happening with the Earth. And it can make me feel very off balance or just a bit peculiar some days, but I'm learning to just ride the waves. So I think this is also coming up to say, okay, what I'm being shown by Metatron is, it's not a very nice analogy, but when you feel seasick and you're on a boat and you just have to keep your eye fixed on the horizon. So it's like here, we've got to keep our eye fixed on the mountaintop, whilst around us, things are sort of moving and shaking. And I do wonder whether there's going to be some more activity with Mother Earth, whether that's volcanoes, whether it is landslides, whether it is earthquake activity. That feels as though it's very possible in this month of September as well. Okay, so let's see what this fourth card is that we've got. We've got the Six of Stones, Compassion. And it's quite interesting. I was about to say we've got 7, 8, and then I looked to this and it hasn't got a number. I was thinking, oh, but look, we've got 6, 7, 8. It's what I was talking about in terms of being methodical, making sure that you've got every T crossed and every I dotted. Have a look at the paperwork, okay? Make sure you read the small details. Don't sign up for things without really properly researching what it is that you are getting into. This doesn't just have to be business. It can also be linked to relationships. It can even be at the level of I'm being shown people, September is often a time where people sign up for evening classes or they'll join a new club, become a member of something. Make sure you really have looked at what you're actually joining, because everything has an energy. And when you give your energy to that, it can interfere, it can hopefully help, but it absolutely can hinder. So a good example would be, you're watching me on social media, you're on YouTube. Some of you also might be on other media, whether it's Twitter, or whatever it's called now, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. If you are on multiple channels, you know that every single one of those social media channels has got a different vibration. It attracts a different type of person with a different type of need. So TikTok is pretty obvious. It's the fast, furious, give it to me now in 30 seconds. I'm not interested in anything more. Then I'm on to the next one. And by nature of the beast is it can be quite a transient type of energy versus other channels. So that's really what I'm trying to say to you. Make sure you're fully aware of the group that you're... Now I'm being shown something else now. I'm being shown by like a Weight Watchers type group. So those people that are maybe trying to lose weight. Now I've been to my fair share of those in my time. And what's really interesting is when I look back, there were some groups that were really helpful and they were full of very supportive, helpful, nice people. And I felt at home there, versus other groups that I joined, maybe with the same umbrella name and brand, but it just had attracted a different type of person, or with a different need. I'm going back a few years now and I felt like I needed to lose a bit of weight. And I remember walking into this particular Weight Watchers group and everybody was so much bigger than me. I was like a fish out of water. I just didn't fit with the rest of the group because they had a lot more to lose than I did. So their needs were different. It's not saying it was wrong or right. It wasn't right for me. So make sure, and this is also to do with online memberships as well, I'm being shown. So you might sign up for an online group, Patreon account with somebody, and then it's like you get in there and it's like, actually, I don't know if is this really me? I mentioned this in my last video, didn't I? I was talking about social outcasts or spiritual outcasts. I keep wanting to say social outcasts, spiritual outcasts. And actually, that's not a negative. I was really just giving the example of sometimes I don't want to always do all of the things and join all of the things that everyone else is flocking to. I was like, is there something wrong with me? And what was coming forward was, no, nothing wrong with you. You don't need it, whatever. But a few of you wrote some brilliant comments to that video. And one person was saying they were using the example of a retreat. So they'd gone on a retreat and they'd always thought that they should go on a retreat. Note the word should, not could, should go on a retreat. Because everyone was saying, you must, it's the greatest thing ever, and you're going to love it, and you're going to meet all these people. And then this lady got there, and I think you said you left a day early because it was just, they weren't your tribe, they weren't your people, you hated it. Using the example of education, I remember first day of university, sat down in the hall and the deacon or whoever it is that runs universities, I remember them saying crystal clear, these are going to be the best days of your life. You're going to meet friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. I didn't feel any of that. I've still got one friend from university days, but it wasn't what they said. So this is really what I mean. And maybe the education thing I'm bringing up because you might be a parent or a grandparent of a child that's gone off to university. It maybe isn't what you thought it was. Maybe it's the wrong course. You can always change direction is what I'm wanting to say. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, make sure, you go through things in a very thorough way. Thoroughness is important as well in September. Okay, so let's have a look. What else have we got? So September, let's have a look at the challenges, please. So the challenges for September, please, Metatron. What are the challenges for September for the people watching? Okay, right, interesting. Look at those 2 cards as challenges. Wow. My goodness, they're powerful. Now, if I'd have said, what are the blessings coming in for this month? It would be like, wow, how amazing. We can't wait to have that, to be attuned to a higher power, to be lit up with fire, essentially, Look at, it's just like an energy of euphoria. This is in the negative energy. This is the negative position. This is the block. But the point is, if it's a block, it shows that it is actually available. It is actually possible. I'll pull a card in a moment in terms of how we get past the block, because it's saying it might be a month where you're struggling to connect to spirit. It might be a month where you're actually struggling. Look at the card. I mean, this is a card that I talk about actually when I do attune people to Archangel Metatron. It's a course that I haven't been running for quite a while. It actually isn't going to be running in September. So that's good. With these issues, it would probably be problematic getting it back up for September, but it's going to be later in the year. But the point is, I talk about this card a lot because it's the card of attunement. In a positive forward energy, it's to do with the heart chakra expanding, the third eye expanding, the ear chakras, the shoulders as well. This is the stellar gateway chakra. It's to do with being lit up, spiritual upgrade. Why is spiritual upgrade then and connecting and attuning to spirit going to feel more difficult this month? So before I pull a card, I just want to tune into this myself. Why is it feeling more difficult? Okay, I'm being shown loads of crossed wires. So it's a bit like a old-fashioned telephone, what do they used to call them? Like a telephone operating room. Maybe they still have them, where, you've got all of the different wires, and this wire goes to America, and that wire goes to China, and that wire goes to the neighbour up the street, and that wire connects this business to the bank and all the rest of it. And it's as though the fuse box is blown. The wires are all in a clump, they're all messed up, they're tangled. When you get jewellery and you get knots in it and you're trying to detangle all of the pieces of different chain and jewellery and everything's stuck together, that's what it feels like. So the question is, have we done this to ourselves by our own demands and expectation? Where's this card again? Have we fallen into a trap where we just want to get to the top? Just give me the reward, give me the cherry pie. I don't want to have to make the cherry pie. I don't want to have to climb the ladder. I just want that. Remember, this is a collective energy. That's sort of where we are at the moment. So just give me that. Not wanting to work towards it, the sense of accomplishment that comes when you've gone through the stages in a methodical way. And also had a rhythm, a continuous, consistent rhythm, whereby you've lived your life in a holy way, is what I'm hearing, in a holy way. And when we live our life in a holy way, in a sacred way, in a reverent way, when we know that every single person we meet is our teacher, every single thing that we react to or respond to or say, whether it's online or in our own lives, matters, that's when we tend to get the upgrades. I must admit, I've seen this in my own life many times. And it could be an interesting subject just for a standalone video on its own, which is the energy of, put it this way, the major upgrades that I've usually received in terms of gifts, whether that be channeling, the ability to connect to spirit, to heal, and anything really, it's usually I've just noticed, and then I've looked back and I thought, wow, gosh, a month ago I don't think I was able to do this. Now I can. What's happened? And it's very rarely, put it this way, it's rarely been the result of some bolt of lightning from the sky where I've just been gifted it without any work on my part. It hasn't been because I've read something, done something, participated in something. It's been because I've just kept on going methodically, trying to live my life in a holy, reverent way, often falling off the ladder, of course, but then getting back on the horse again the next day. So it's not to say, of course, that courses and books don't matter. They can absolutely be the springboard that helps open you up. But put it this way, you can go on any course, you can go on any retreat, you can listen to any video, you can get any certificate, but it's what you do with that energy that you receive, the teaching that you receive, is how you put it into practice that is the key for the upgrade to come in, the attunement to come in. So yeah, it just, and 10 of Wands is of course also the energy of feeling unsupported. So there's that side to it as well. It's not just the race to the top at all costs, although I do think that's a valid point. It's also the fact that we feel we're just struggling, we can't do it. Give me clarification, please, on the 10 of Fire, please, Metatron. So with regards to attuning to spirit, connecting to spirit, receiving messages, why are we finding it hard going at this time, please? Why are people finding it hard going? 2 of Lotus, the card of empathy, because people aren't in their hearts. People aren't in their hearts enough. And it's what occurs to me, what matters to me, what hurts me, what moves me, also matters to you, also moves you, also hurts you, etc. It's this energy of do unto others as we would be done to ourselves. And, it's the energy of interconnectedness. So this card is also, even though it's a number 2, we've got the energy of infinity. It's the fact that people are not understanding, Metatron is saying, that you have to stay connected 24/7. The best way to describe this, and it's an analogy that I've given before, is it's the old energy of going to church on a Sunday. I've spent my hour in church being a good person, saying my prayers, asking for forgiveness. Now I can go back into the world and I can forget it again for the next 6 days. And I can maybe be a complete asshole or, whatever. And I'm not behaving in a nice way to my neighbour or my friend. I'm not being there for anybody. I'm just thinking for myself the whole time. I don't care. I'm not going to actually practice the principles of Christ consciousness, but I will turn up at church next week and get my wafer. That's the energy, because in that state, you are not connected the whole time. Being on a spiritual path is a 24/7 experience. It's a 24/7 path, and there's no getting off the path, I'm afraid. There might be times you want to, but of course it's then that you're carried. So the 2 of Lotus, I also feel as though it's spirit saying, we understand that it's hard at the moment. Where's the card? We understand that it's hard. We understand that you just want to give up. It's like the energy of the hands just up in the air. I just want to give up. I want to surrender. I can't do this. But we have got you. We're holding you. Stay connected. Stay aligned. Stay aligned. And the thing that's happening at the moment in the world is that we're being given lots of external stimuli and reasons to not stay aligned, to basically fall out with our brothers and sisters. One of the things that I've been asked to read on a lot over the last week is the voice referendum in Australia. I'm still deciding whether I will do that. If I have time, I will. But I don't want to judge anybody or diss anybody, but I would like to say what I'm about to say. The first few times that I was asked it, I just sort of said, well, okay, I will, but can you help me out? Because it takes me hours to research what it's about. I don't live in Australia. I don't understand the issues. I'm not there. I'm not reading the news. I'm not having the conversations with my fellow Australians. Just give me some neutral questions, give me some neutral background as to what it's about, and then I'll try and take a higher perspective on it. And it just seemed to descend into this shouting match. And I thought, it's just another example. So whether it's the virus, whether it's a referendum, whether it's certainly politics, whether it's religion, whether it's all of the different things that are dividing us at the moment, what they actually are teachers to see whether we can stay aligned to our principles, whether we can stay on our path, or whether at the first sign of friction and difference of opinion with somebody else, we just throw an almighty toddler tantrum, okay? And, we hurl abuse and we stomp off and we unfriend and all of the rest of it. We're being asked to try to stay in our heart. But as I say, I want to also say with boundaries, because, we also do have to respect our own space and our own sanity. Spirit can often sometimes forget how difficult it is down here on earth at this time. And also this is a two-way communication, obviously, with spirit. Tell them your problems. Tell them what's troubling you. Tell them about the fractured family relationships or friendships or situations at work, or the split that is existing in your country. And the fact that, be honest with it, journal it. Rather than take it out on the next person you see that looks different to you or might be voting differently or just, is a different colour or a different creed or whatever, journal it out. Speak to God about it. Go into your heart and ask your heart for guidance. And the guidance will always come back to love. Love one another as I have loved you. Let's pull a card from the Christ deck at this point. So the month of September. What is the best teaching, please, for the month of September with regards to Christ consciousness, for the blocks and the misunderstandings and the division and the frustration? This came up in my last reading. New vintage, be open-minded. Do you remember? This came up last time. It's to do with the fact that you have to be, we have to be, I have to be open to new ideas, open to new ways of looking at the world, open to new, open. It doesn't mean that you have to accept everything carte blanche. It doesn't mean that you have to change and become what somebody else believes. But put it this way, look at this beautiful older lady's face. She's willing to listen. She's willing to listen because she realises that even if she doesn't agree maybe with what she's hearing, she can learn something about herself and her journey through the interaction. Everybody is our teacher. We always have something to learn from another. So we have the energy of be open-minded. What's on the bottom of the deck? Let's have a look. Sisterhood. Sisterhood. We have the energy of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. And over and above who they are and were, it's the energy of two females, but they represent us because we all have the feminine aspect within ourselves, sitting around a campfire. Sitting around a campfire, talking about whatever they need to talk about. We have the Milky Way in the background, a reminder of the beauty of the universe, a reminder of actually what it's all about, where we come from, where we go back to, The energy of fire, which brings us together and has done since times of old, where people have sat around the fire. Funnily enough, I was just talking to my daughter in the garden about the people that I've channeled, and she was asking me, well, who have you channeled? And I was reeling off the list. I'm just going to get the quote up to tell you who I was talking about. I was mentioning to her Alan Rickman. And it's that quote that you've seen me post many times, and I probably will again. And I just love it. And it's this. Dear old Alan. It's the more that we're governed by idiots and have no control over our destinies, the more we need to tell stories to each other about who we are, why we are, where we come from, and what might be possible. Let me repeat. Around the campfire. The more we're governed by idiots and have no control over our destinies, the more we need to tell stories to each other about who we are, why we are, where we come from, and what might be possible. Yeah, I love that quote, and I think it's very accurate for now. The other quote of Alan's, which I just have to say as we're on Alan, is the one about him getting older. Oh gosh, it's a really beautiful quote. Let's just see if I can quickly find it. Yeah, when I'm 80 years old, and of course he never got to it, and here we go. Hold on, guys. When I'm 80 years old and sitting in my rocking chair, I'll be reading Harry Potter, and my family will say to me, after all this time, and I will say, always. I don't know why that gets me. It always gets me every time. I always feel so emotional with that. It's just such a beautiful quote. I mean, he didn't get to 80, but it's something about the passage of time, the power of words, the power of art, the power of culture, the power of a beautiful escapist story to unite us. When I'm 80 years old and I'm sitting in my rocking chair, I'll be reading Harry Potter, and my family will say to me, after all this time, and I will say always. I think it's getting to me so much because there's so much power in it, but it's also what this card's about. The feminine way. The feminine way, the divine feminine, which is within all of us, is requesting us this September to put down our differences and to sit with each other. To be open-minded from what we can learn from each other. This is what is blocking this. And this isn't just your upgrade and attunement to the next stage of the pyramid. We want to keep going higher. This is humanity's next step. Humanity is wanting to evolve and upgrade. It's wanting to transcend the horrendous difficulties that we have. And what I'm feeling Spirit saying is that part of the reason why the difficulties are getting so hard, there's so many horrible stories at local level, at national level, at international level, so many stories, it's not just the fact that it's healing time and so we have to bring it up from the bowels of the earth so we can look at it and heal it. That is part of it. But it's almost as though I'm now seeing the Godhead, and it's like just sitting there almost with an energy of despair in terms of at what level will humanity come back to each other? How bad does it have to get? How bad does it have to get before this happens? Before we sit with each other, we learn from each other. And, one of the biggest distractions, when I was talking about this card earlier, about possibilities and focus, and the fact that there are so many distractions from, putting the key in the door. We really have to look at some of the elephants in the room. And one of the elephants in the room is social media. I'm very aware you're watching me on social media. I'm very grateful that you do. But put it this way, I don't want you to be spending, your whole life watching my videos. We all need to be having time away from it. The middle road with this is to have digital breaks. I tried to have one on Sunday, and I did manage a good portion of the day. I try not to never work on a Sunday, but just as an example, to turn the phone off. Because put it this way, have these two Marys got phones in their hands? Are they trying to take a photograph of the Milky Way rather than look with their own eyes at the Milky Way? So, but that's just one example. There's so many different ways that we can distract ourselves. Also, the distraction comes from focusing on the negativity, the terrible agendas, the timelines that might come in. Yes, they might come in, but they also might not. And so the more that you prepare for worst case scenario the whole time, the more that you're bringing that closer in, and you're making this further and further away, because you're not putting energy into this. You're not putting energy into this upliftment of the world, of humanity. You're putting energy into the reverse, the darkness, basically. What template, archetypal template, have we got in our midst in September? This is the Citadel Oracle deck, which is a little bit different. They're quite unusual, aren't they, in terms of the shape of the cards? But they have archetypal energies, which I find really interesting. So let's have a look at the archetypal energies around us this September. We have the energy of the musician. We've got the gambler as well. That one keeps showing up. Let's put both on. So the musician is again confirming the message that I said earlier on in this reading about you need to be the rhythm. You need to flow to your own rhythm. You need to also be in harmony with Mother Earth. You need to be in harmony with her inhabitants. You need to be in harmony with the elements. That's why the elements are all out of sync at the moment. Over and above any manipulation you think is going on with regards to the elements, that's only possible because we are out of rhythm with her. And by her, I'm talking Mother Earth. We need to become the music. We need to be the music. Also to look to music as inspiration. Now, one of my great friends, one of my truly great friends who I've known since I was, 15 or so, she put a comment on a little thing that I put up about Freddie Mercury yesterday. I'm just going to read it to you because she was recommending a book that I should read. Okay, so she says it's called The Sound of Being Human, and it says how music shapes our lives. So, yeah, you know who you are. Anybody else read that book? She's going to lend it to me when I next see her. So it's The Sound of Being Human, how music shapes our lives. It's also, of course, another side to this. I'm being shown now the fact that we know that when we look back at our lives, music often can identify particular things that have happened to us. We will have music that reminds us of when our children were born, when we met our love, when maybe something terribly sad happened, etc. Music shapes us, it defines us. What is the music of New Earth? What does that sound like? Now, by that, I'm not talking about who is the artist. It's more, what are the themes that will be sung about? What will it sound like? What will it sound like? I'd just like to leave you with that, okay? So there's new music to be created for the creation of New Earth. Music comes with us into New Earth, and music is Well, sound is one of the principal ingredients to creation. So when we talk about how do we create new earth, how do we get closer to it, the energy of music, the energy of sound is one of the keys that you put into the door. Yesterday, I was talking about how obviously colour has always been one of the things that I use to create my reality. That's why, created the sprays, but it's also to do with the smell, the scent of sprays, the smell of incense that I often burn. So aware of smell being something that helps us to create an ambience, which creates an atmosphere, which creates an experience, which creates a reality. I feel better because I can smell the roses, but the same is true of sound. I feel better because I've listened to this and it's uplifted me. So music is, being the musician is one of the archetypal energies for this month. To sing, to play, to hum along, to just enjoy it basically. But we also have this shadow energy to contend with, which is the gambler, which is to do with loss and risks. So let's talk about the gambler then. Okay, I'm going to pull another card to go with the gambler from the Metatron deck. Why have we got the energy of the gambler here, please, Metatron, for the month of September? Why have we got the energy of the gambler? Endings. There are endings that are coming in that are non-negotiable. For the new beginning to happen, there has to be the ending. It's as though we think we can dodge that. We can get out of that. We don't have to go through the pain to get to the rainbow. But we're promised that we are held. Endings, you are held. So I think that's really what it's about. Anything else with this one, Metatron, the gambler, loss and risks. Playing with fire. That we're playing with fire. That we're not building on solid ground. That, put it this way, this energy of the gambler is the opposite energy of the methodical, practical, thorough, well-researched energy that I was talking about earlier. This is just like, I'll give it a go, Doesn't really matter if it doesn't work out. In some scenarios, of course, that can be true, but not with the really big things of life. Not with the moments where people are going to remember us by. It feels as though the stakes are high this September. Why are the stakes high this September? Why are the stakes high this September? For the people watching, why are the stakes high? Because we can go beyond what we have ever thought possible. Metatron would be a brilliant guide for you this month. If you've never tried to, work with Metatron, just ask him to be with you. He's behind everything that I do. So if you've ever listened to me, you'll have been in his energy. Meta means to go beyond. There's an opportunity to go beyond that which we've ever been before. Don't risk losing that opportunity by not having your eye on the ball, by not being focused, by mucking about, playing around. This is also the energy of sort of addictive type energy. It's the energy of laissez-faire. Just no, it doesn't matter. September feels a month where it's important to show up in a way that your mother would be proud of, is what I'm hearing. If you didn't have a good relationship with your mother, whoever it is in your life that you've always wanted just to be proud of you. And there's nothing wrong with that, Or or if it's not a person, that God is proud of you, that Spirit is proud of you, that Mother Earth is proud of you, and most of all, that you're proud of yourself. Show up this September in a way that you can be proud of, that you can go beyond what you think you're capable of, that you can transcend what you think you can't. And 4, the energy of stability. We've also got the energy of the Apprentice of Fire and the Seeker of Fire here on the deck, at the bottom of the deck as well. And I'll take that one, gentleness and death. And Chris, we could just carry on and use the whole deck, but I think I'll stop there. So we've got the energies of fire, we've got the Apprentice of Fire and the Seeker of Fire. Lots of hot energy around us and within us. Make sure you channel that well and properly and thoroughly and safely and respectfully. Don't burn other people with your hot tongue, with the whip of your tail. Stand in a circle, in a community of like-minded people. This feels like an energy of purification of the flames as well. What else have we got? We've got the energy of gentleness. We did have the energy of death here, but that goes with the card of endings that we've already had. And then we've got the 4 of Lotus, which is the last card I'm going to pull today, which is the energy of crystallization. So what have we got? We've got how many 4s have we got here? We've got 3 4s. 4, 4, 4. 4, 4, 4. Angelic frequency. This feels like the 4 of Lotus feels as though it's the energy of the heart, crystalline energy within the heart. The 4 of Shells, the energy of gentleness, to be able to just float through, swim through, glide through this month. The 4 of Stones, the more that I'm looking at this, it feels as though this is our energy. It's as though we're able to dodge the bullets, dodge the missiles. I'm not talking physically there. I'm just talking dodge the energy out there, which is hostile, aggressive. Lots of people coming for us. Because it's like, who are you to be this graceful? What is that? Is that a stingray? No, probably not. Let me have a look in the book. But whatever that creature is, it's just being able to glide very gracefully through. The 4 of Shells. What is it? It's a manta ray. Okay, it's a manta ray. It says in our busy schedule, it's confirming what I've been talking about. It says in our busy schedule, there may be many distractions. The 4 of Shells asks you to find stillness. It's exactly what I said with this one. Find stillness. So 4 of Shells, to find stillness. Do your prayers or mantras to center yourself. Ask the devas, angels, Christ, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Krishna to come to your assistance, to cleanse you and restore you in the faith of unconditional love. And in terms of the manta ray, it says the manta ray is also known as a stingray. Oh, okay, I was right. It's also known as a stingray, and they can sting. The message here asks us to pay attention to what may be causing us pain. We can take the sting out of any situation by acknowledging what is being mirrored to us or what is right in front of us. As we let go of fears and anxieties, we open up to the more gentle aspects of the card. The manta ray has a gentle nature as it forages on the ocean floor. It disturbs the marine life as it forages, creating a feast for other inhabitants of the sea. Likewise, as you share your gifts in the simplest of ways, we had generosity, didn't we? Like cooking for friends or family with love. By doing so, you embody the flowing ease of the mantra ray. So it's confirming what came up earlier in this session. So I do hope that helped. I'm going to leave it there for now. Is that another 4? No, there's 3 4s. We're going to end on those 3 4s. Take great care. I shall be back soon. And lots of love to everybody. Let's all be our best self. Bye-bye for now. Bye.